call.
Mr. Speaker.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, the Ombudsman released his review of the Rebstock inquiry. He concluded that the inquiry contained numerous flaws. He has made 4 recommendations to the State Services Commission: a public apology to the diplomat criticised in the report, reimbursement for his expenses, compensation for damage to his reputation, and a review of the legislative guidance for future inquiries. It's just as well we once thought fit to emulate the Nordic model of government in setting up the Ombudsman's office, sir, so that the corrosion of public standards of this kind can be halted and hopefully reversed. The Rebstock review of 2013 was an example of the politicisation of New Zealand's public system. I am not sure which is worse, the Henry report or the Rebstock report. One was referred to the Privileges Committee, one to the Ombudsman. Both reveal a hubris on the part of those close to government. Both have been subjected to criticism and remediation. But the criticism in this case doesn't stop at the vindictiveness of the author and the truculence of the State Services Commissioner. It extends to ministerial cynicism and spin. Yesterday, the current minister offered her view. If you read the report carefully, she thought, what it says is that there were certainly some procedural matters that we should be learning from and that shouldn't have happened in that way. But I actually think there's been a misinterpretation of the report itself, in that it's saying it made allegations against people that shouldn't have been made, and that's certainly not the way I read it. I invite the Minister to have a more thorough read. The conclusions of the Ombudsman's report on page 3 are these. The Rebstock inquiry's findings exceeded its terms of reference. The diplomat criticised in the report was not treated fairly in terms of natural justice. The manner in which the evidence was portrayed was skewed. The manner in which the diplomat's actions had been addressed was disproportionate. And the publication of the final report was unjust. Specifically, Minister, read paragraphs 166 to 86 and 192 to 97. Last week, the Prime Minister viewed things from his end-of-the-day position of personal comfort. Paula Rebstock made one mistake, he said. Clearly, people need to take some learnings from it. But I don't think it's terminal in terms of her capacity to work for the government. It may indeed not be terminal for her capacity to work for this government. That is the political concern, sir. This government has hoisted New Zealand Inc. to the top of its flagpole. It has strengthened the role of the executive in relationship to the legislature. It has allowed political interests to intrude into the public service. It has thrown a business model at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It has vilified, sought to crucify 2 top diplomats of unimpeachable integrity. The first half of my career was in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The thought of applying a business model to the professional diplomatic method that prevailed in the institution back then would have drawn incredulity and revulsion, and it should do so today. I knew, still know, the 2 diplomats who have, with their families, been to hell and back as a result of the work of Paula Rebstock and Ian Rennie at the behest of this government. There are no finer people, no finer New Zealanders than Derek Leask and Nigel Fife. What can we glean from this sorry affair that might improve our system of governance? Once the apology, the reimbursement and the compensation are taken care of, we shall all need to focus on the 4th recommendation, Mr. Speaker, a review of the guidance contained in the State Services Act for future such inquiries. In the name of natural justice and good governance, we cannot allow this kind of thing to occur again.
The Right Honourable